All right, welcome back. So in the last video, we kind of talked about the teaching portion. So teaching the actual lesson, we looked a little bit at the PDF that was here. And so I kind of went through quickly, but I wanted to bring us back to these headings. So the Word was always God. The Word is the Creator God. The Word was life and light. And so thinking of those as three backbones to what you're teaching, obviously coming from the scripture, I would try to break up your time where you spend, let's say, 2 to 5 minutes, depending, on each of these sections. That sounds like a lot. But if you have this kind of as the backbone, the background for what you're saying, you can add the meat and just speak to these things. And one thing I love to do, especially for 4s and 5s through second, they're at an age where they're starting to learn a lot of information, and they take in this information and they think they understand it, and then you ask them what the information was, and they'll say something either shocking or way off, or sometimes they get it right. But there's times where I'll ask a question like, who is the Word? What does the Word mean? And, they're going to say probably the Bible. They're probably going to say a couple other things. And then you'll have one kid that says something, way off that makes you chuckle a little bit. But so I would go through each of these. The Word was always God, but I would ask questions to the students. So I would ask, who is the Word? Now, if you're teaching and you've already told them the Word was always God, well, then they might say it's God. And you're like, yes, you're correct. But who also is the Word? Well, because it is different, right? God is not the Word. The Word was always God. The Word is God. But who is the Word? The Word is Jesus, right? And so you're helping them think through some of these different blocks of information. I used to say as a teacher that if I just gave my students solutions, they wouldn't know how to apply them to problems. I have to give them a problem first, and then when they arrive to a solution, I have just taught them how to solve a problem that they can then continue to apply throughout the rest of their life. And so asking questions oftentimes gives them a problem. What is this question? What is the teacher asking me? I don't know. Let me think through this. Okay, how can I solve this? And they're kind of working through the information that they already know. They're working through, you've just read through the text, so maybe they can figure it out from there. And they're starting to try to source answers for this question that you've given them. The Word is the Creator God. Wait, so if the Word is the Creator God, what did the Word create? If you ask them, what did the Word create? They think to themselves, well, if the Word is the Creator God, what did God create? And then they start to logically work through the information, and then they're like, wait, everything. Everything was made. It came into being. So the Word created everything. And then the Word was life and light. And so you just go through this information, and I would just ask questions. Why is it that the Word was life? Why is the Word life? What does it mean for the Word to be light? And for you, have some of these answers already written out, right? Write down what it means for the Word to be life, what it means for the Word to be light. Have some verses maybe that you want to use. And you'll notice if you ask those questions, so let me just do those. Ask the questions. If you ask those questions, you've already spent maybe 10 to 15 minutes just getting through the information. If you follow this pattern with CPR, and then I made this tick, it's probably not the best acronym, but if you do that, you're going to actually have too much information to give them, and you're going to run out of time, which to me, depending on how class is going, isn't the worst thing in the world. If we end up not being able to color or craft as much, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. But then we get to illustrate, which I'll talk about in the next video, because we have some different resources available to us, and I want to talk through some of that. But if you go through CPR and then tick, you're going to have almost too much information, and then you can start to pick and choose, what do I focus on, what are the kids listening to, and what do they need to hear, and that helps you be a more effective teacher.